Hey, what's up? This is Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz, and this is my weekly video blog called Bullheaded, a review of the Houston Texans news, as well as a preview of the upcoming game matchups. So, this week, the Texans are coming off of their bye week and returning home to face the Miami Dolphins in what's the beginning of a strange, enticing three-game stretch that the Texans have coming up pretty soon. So, I'll get into all the details of that. But first, let me do a quick game recap of the previous game that they played. So, Texans played the Jaguars. They beat the Jaguars. We also know what happened with the hit. By now, if you've been under a rock or whatever, drowned in the Jacksonville Jaguars pool, um, the uh, the league suspended Aziz Al Shahir, um, for his hit on quarterback Trevor Lawrence, suspended him 3 games. Whole big hubbub and all that other stuff, but I talked about everything on my previous episode, which was the bye week episode. So you can check that out. That's on my channel right now. So just go check that out whenever you have a chance. Um, I'm just gonna go ahead and just talk about the rest of the game, which was a pretty good game for the Texans. One thing took away from it is they matched the energy from that particular incident. So they really, I felt like, with that happening to Jacksonville's quarterback, Jaguars are going to get a little amped up and all this other stuff. So, um, at the same time, I feel like the Texans just really brought. If I think the Texans anticipated that, and they just really brought it back to them. You know what I'm saying? They matched that energy. They matched the potential energy, if you will. And you know what I'm saying? The Texans just played a really solid game on both sides of the ball, defense and offense. Um, they jumped up to like a 23-6 lead at one point. You know what I'm saying? 23-6, like in the fourth quarter. So, um, good, great job by the Texans for just going on the road and pulling a win out like that in a moment. You know what I'm saying, like that. Another thing I took away from it, Nico Collins, Joe Mixon, both guys were, did their thing in that game. Nico 8 catches for 140, excuse me, 119 yards. Um, Joe Mixon 20 carries for 101 yards. Really brought it. You know what I'm saying? Really just kind of I don't want to say plant their flag after all this foolishness, but I mean, whatever. Might as well. So I really just kind of planted their flag, established their identity or whatever, and just getting back on track with this game. So just overall, just to recap, it was a game that was obvious. It was already going to be a tough game because of the rivalry that exists between these two teams. And then it's just the game's emotions just got heightened after that incident early in the first half. And so with that said, the competitiveness, what I'm saying, it jumped up. It jumped up on one team. Let's be clear. It jumped up in the Texans. They went on to finish this game in the fourth quarter. Jacksonville just kind of snuck back in there a little bit, through some garbage time. So it is what it is with that. But great win again by the Texans. So what I really want to talk about is this little 3 game stretch that I mentioned at the top of the show. Make sure this camera is straight because it's been bothering me since I recorded. Okay, there we go. So, like I said, Texans are going to start like a weird 3 game stretch coming up. And the crazy thing is, it has to be against the Miami Dolphins, the Kansas City Chiefs, and the Baltimore Ravens. And so it's bad enough the schedule itself is kind of wonky. So the schedule is they're going to play Miami on Sunday at home. Then they're going to go on the road to face the Kansas City Chiefs on Saturday. That's supposed to be like a Madden cast or something like that. And it might be a Peacock exclusive. I'm not even sure at this point. Uh, and then after that, on Christmas Day, which is like what, less than, I would say, 4 days. If I'm not so horrible at math, yeah, I would say probably in 4 days after the Chiefs game, they're going to be playing on Christmas Day at home against the Baltimore Ravens, and that's also going to be the game where Beyonce and now Mariah Carey has been added to the halftime show. So yeah, more eyes on the Texans, if you will. And I mean that's whatever. That's just part of the game. But really, my thing is, just kind of with the football aspect of it. Obviously, um, first off, the scheduling is like weird. Um, but you know, I part of that being weird is really the Christmas game, which is on a Wednesday. I know they've done the midweek games, when COVID was running about, but as far as like just at any other time, I haven't really seen a game like straight dab in the middle of the week. I seen them play regular season games on Friday, like way before the Good Friday game. But I'm talking about like I think Friday before Christmas or something. I think that the last game I remember when they played Friday on Christmas, Alvin Kamara might have went off for like 5 or 6 touchdowns or some crazy record like that. But the point I'm making is this is a wonky schedule, and on top of it being a wonky schedule, um, it's these teams that you're having a wonky schedule against. Like it isn't like they scheduled them against the Dolphins, the Chicago Bears, then uh, who's trash right now? Then the Cleveland Browns. You know what I'm saying? It's like they got scheduled against some of the two a couple of the best teams in the league. Now, Dolphins ain't necessarily there yet. Well, not yet. They're just not there at all. Um, when I saw the schedule at the beginning of the year, I was like, this schedule is gonna be crazy. Like I know this team can do it. This the way this team is built. They're gonna. What I'm saying. I think they can give a run for. I think they can give a run for each of these other teams' money. But obviously things happen during the season. So, that was I read the schedule, before Stephon Diggs got hurt, before Kenyon Green got hurt, before we went through the O line issues, before Jalen Petrie got hurt. You know what I'm saying? And I'm pretty sure I read all of this before I saw what the Chiefs were gonna play like. Before, you know, I saw what the Ravens were gonna do, throughout the year. And what I'm saying? Also, even before the Dolphins went through what they went through. You know what I'm saying? They didn't have Tua for a couple of games, and that's kind of why they're like kind of down in the hole right now, as far as like trying to make it to the playoffs. So the way I see it also is like, just mentioning that, the difference between just mentioning the difference between what I saw on the schedule back then versus what I'm seeing on the schedule now. You know what I'm saying? Back then, I was looking at, these are three contenders, what I'm saying, that's really going to help the Texans prove that they are contenders. Well, that's halfway right. You know what I'm saying? I see three good teams, including the Miami Dolphins, but there's different levels of, they're good. You know what I'm saying? So, um, with the Dolphins, I see a team that's hungry, trying to get in the playoffs, trying to get back what they lost while Tua was out. So that doesn't just include wins. That includes, chemistry with the receivers. Um, you know what I'm saying? Just different things like that. So I definitely see them kind of fighting, a little bit more than what their record indicates that they are. The Chiefs, the Chiefs are still the Chiefs. They just don't look like it this year. They're finding ways to win. When it used to be, the only thing that they need to find is Patrick Mahomes throwing something to the end zone. You know what I'm saying? And hey, that's how they won most of their games. But now this year is more of a effort from. It seems like it's more of an effort from all parties. You know what I'm saying? So running game, passing games, special teams, defense. You know what I'm saying? Pass defense, whatever you want to call it. It just seems like it's more of an effort coming from all sides. Baltimore Ravens, they had a rough start, but they're you know great right now. You know what I'm saying? And so they are. I just seen the division, which was crazy to me. Whatever place that. Um. Oh yeah. I keep forgetting. I was like, I just seen that they were fifth or something, and I'm like, oh, the Steelers are in that division. That's that's why they're down there. But yeah, you know what I'm saying? The Ravens, they started off rough, then they had a great little run to remedy that. Then they took a couple bumps by the Steelers. You know what I'm saying? So now they're like right below the Texans as far as like seeding and everything. But they're still in the playoffs. You know what I'm saying? Um, so pretty much this little run, um, it was already going to be difficult anyway. Just playing it on like even if you played it like on a regularly scheduled Sunday at noon. You know what I'm saying? But I think this little 3 game schedule stretch or whatever is going to be some type of gauntlet. Best probably not even a word that's supposed to be used for that, but it's going to be a run that's going to really sharpen up this Texans team. You know what I'm saying? Especially this young group, this young core is going to sharpen them up. Just show them like how they can actually win big games. You know what I'm saying? Because that's they're at that moment now where it's like a lot of the games that they're going to play this late in the year is going to be big games. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be games that's determining not just not just the what I'm trying to say. It's going to be games that's going to kind of determine like their playoff seeding and all this other stuff. So and especially it's going to be extra important for that, considering that there's no more bye week for the number 2 seed, so everybody's gunning for that number one, and they're going to do whatever they can to make sure that they end up with that 1 seed. But with that being said, how do I feel about this overall? This new this upcoming stretch overall. Uh, I probably hinted at it, but I do feel good about it. I think the Texans can really just go out. They'll find. I think the Texans are going to find a way to win these games outright, or they're just going to find a way to like really keep them competitive and such. So I like their chances against like either of these teams, especially the Dolphins. The Chiefs and Ravens, I'm just gonna have to wait and see. To see who's all hurt, who's all leaving the lineup, all the other stuff. So with that being said, uh, injuries. My mouse disappeared on me. So, outstanding. Okay, so yeah, injuries. Jalen Petrie out for the year, placed on IR. He's going to be having season-ending shoulder surgery. Christian Harris, he is set to make his season debut. He's set to return this week. Hopefully, his replacement knows that and doesn't quit in the game like a certain Thursday night football team did the other day, last night, but that's neither here nor there. So, uh, but yeah, glad that he's coming back. Glad that he's able to like. Hopefully, he comes back, and just really makes an impact. The only person listed as being out this week was Juice Scruggs, so he will not be playing in this game. So, with that being said, it's time to really get into this game plan. So, Texans going to be hosting the Miami Dolphins this Sunday. Coming off their Texans are coming off their bye week. Also coming off a Jacksonville Jaguars win from the week before. The thing about this game, as I mentioned, Miami is 2 games out of the final. They're fighting for a playoff spot. They're 2 games out of the final playoff spot behind the Denver Broncos. And they've kind of lost a little bit of that season. Not gonna lie. So they started off a little bumpy. Then then Tua got hurt, and so he had to sit out for a couple games. That was the Thursday night game against the Bills, and that was when people were trying to be like, yeah, you need to retire, blah 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 blah. That's another point I probably gonna add in there at the end, but so yeah, yeah, he got put out the lineup, whatever injury, came back in, and now the team they went 4-3, with him returning to the lineup. So um, it's going to be real interesting. This guy, and so with that said, he's coming in here, and it's not just Tua, it's Tyreek Hill, a dangerous guy with just speed, like speed for no reason. Well, he has a reason, but right, dude is just fast. You know what I'm saying? Dude is just fast. He's crazy good. Also helps that he has Jalen Waddle on the other side of him, former Alabama player, drafted by the Dolphins, and he himself is just as great. He's been picking up his production a little bit in the past few weeks. There's also Devon Otchain, who is like a catalyst almost. He doesn't. I don't think he has like 100 yards rushing this season, but he's definitely a dual threat running back, able to do it both with the ball, pounding the rock, and also like through the air. So, with that being said, the Texans have to really prioritize a couple things if they want to win this game. First thing they need to prioritize is ball control. Ball control is going to be key for this game. As I mentioned, the Dolphins offense, they're full of talent. You know what I'm saying? Obviously you got Tyreek Hill, but you also got Jalen Waddle. And in the last couple of weeks, you had Jonnu Smith. Now, Jonnu Smith didn't have any stats um, in the. Let me try to think. Yeah, he didn't have any stats in the regular portion of the game, but in overtime, he that's when he actually like really recorded his things, his numbers. So he's still a very viable option. Even if he looked like he was kind of streaky, definitely gonna have to keep an eye on him. Make sure he doesn't sneak out any big plays as well. Um, so yeah, ball control is going to be key. The Dolphins, they're getting back on track, and they've gotten back on track. But keep them off rhythm. You know what I'm saying? So do what you got to do. Disrupt passes, increase the pass rush. Just keep this offense off rhythm. Um, but part of that is going to be obviously with ball control. You know what I'm saying? Once you control the football, just control it as long as you can. You know what I'm saying? Make these drives as long as you can. Even if you at that 30-yard line, make this drive as long as you can, just to keep them off the field and keep them off of rhythm. Um, as far as like the ball control goes, how the Texans are going to implement that, obviously just getting back to the run, making smart throws and intermediate passes, and what I'm saying, that's really just going to kind of keep things going as far as ball control. Um, for the Dolphins, their strongest thing about on defense is that they are tied for Philadelphia with third. Yeah, they're tied for Philly with third and third down defense. So just make sure the third downs are manageable. Um, Next thing, number two, understand assignments and coverages. So Peachy's gonna be out, but that leaves Lassiter and Bullock. So um, the main thing about this is understanding the assignments and coverages, just understanding what they're going to do. We have to implement this to give up no big plays, none at all. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's not Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle is just as fast, just as dangerous as Hill. You know what I'm saying? So no big plays. Make sure that you're covering who you need to cover, whether it's a player, whether it's a certain side of the quarterback. Make sure that you're on that assignment and know why you're actually doing it. And then also really just stick with the game plan until further notice. Game plans sometimes need adjustments, but um, really you're gonna have to stick with the game plan. Make sure that you're following who you need to follow and tracking down who you need to track down. So, um, yeah, just to go over this, ball control is key. The Dolphins offense, they're back on track. You just need to really just do ball control, keep them off the field and keep them off rhythm, and just make the third downs manageable. Number two, just understand the assignments and coverages. So, uh, It's Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, Jonnu Smith, Devin Otchain. Definitely gonna need to watch out for Otchain. He is a threat, a threat. Like I believe he has yeah. So for him, uh, I don't think he's had like 100 yards rushing this year, but as far as like scrimmage, like he has that like quite a few times. You know what I'm saying? So they use him on the ground, but they also use him out of the backfield with his speed. So definitely, what you want to do is just kind of yeah, just kind of just understand like who's assigned to him, who's covering him, and understand that so you don't give up any big plays, and really just stick with the game plan that's at hand. So Texans do that, they'll be able to get a win this weekend. Head straight into these playoffs. So, with that being said, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. If you're watching this on Facebook, Facebook.com/BrandonBlog. Like my page, like this video, share this video. If you're watching this on YouTube, um, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and subscribe to my channel. I'm Brandon. So, yeah, I'm Brandon Simmons for BrandonSimmons.biz. Holla black.